Hello friends, how are you guys today? I hope you guys are all having an amazing day so far. If you are not having an amazing day, I really hope that your day gets better from here on out. I mean, come on. Johnny has won the trial. He got the verdict in his favor for all 3 counts of defamation, so that has got to put a smile on your guys' face, right? Well, my name is Shanda and welcome to my channel, you guys. I want to take this opportunity and say thank you guys so much for clicking on this video. I really hope that you enjoy it. And if you don't enjoy it, I hope you at least give it a chance and find it informative. So today we are going to talk about Johnny's big win. We are going to talk about the jury and why we think the jury gave Amber Heard the 2nd count of defamation. We are going to also talk about the damages, and we're going to talk about their statements. Johnny and Amber Heard both released statements literally like 3 or 4 minutes after the verdict was read. And then today, Elaine Bredehoft went on the Today Show, Amber's attorney, and whined about the verdict and tried to weaponize it, saying it's setting all women back, it's setting the clock back, and just insulting the jury and our justice system. It was very embarrassing. I don't know how she thought that was a good idea, but we will go through all of that today in this video. So why don't you guys sit back, relax, grab a snack and a drink, and let's get right into it. When it came time for the verdict to be read, the jury came into the room and the judge noticed that they did not fill out one of the forms correctly. They did not put any damages on one of the forms. So she sent the jury back out to do that. And the jury came back like 15 minutes later. And it is finally time for the verdict. All 3 counts. The jury did a complete full sweep. I mean, a lot of people thought if Johnny Depp wins anything, it will be on the 1st count about I experienced sexual abuse and faced our culture's wrath or whatever. That headline was what everybody thought he would win on, if anything. But the jury did a complete full sweep. They were in Johnny's favor for all 3 counts of defamation, and it was absolutely amazing. A huge, incredible win for Johnny and his team. And it was just amazing to see where the jury was just reading off. It was yes, 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 yes. They found it was actual malice for all of them. And they were completely believed that Amber did this to Johnny on purpose, which is wonderful because that's what everybody else knows happen in this country. So the jury was in favor of Johnny, all 3 counts, and then they gave him $10 million in damages and then another $5 million in punitive damages. Now, the punitive damages are the you suck damages. They are the you're an asshole damages, and you have to pay for your shittiness damages, pretty much. And they gave him $5 million on that, and they were making Amber pay $5 million in punitive damages, which really, really speaks volumes as a jury, basically telling Amber, no, what you did was awful. It was absolutely horrible. And it was amazing. Unfortunately, Virginia has a law where punitive damages are capped at $350,000. I'm pretty sure the jury probably knew that, but they wanted to send a message to Amber that her behavior is probably atrocious. I'm sure that's the message, but they wanted to send a message to her, so they gave Johnny $5 million in punitive damages. Of course, he doesn't get that, but it was a strong message from the jury. Moving on. Amber, the 1st claim, no. They said, nope, no defamation. The 2nd claim, they said yes. They actually gave the second claim of defamation to Amber. They ruled in her favor. Now, this one was the one where Adam Waldman said Amber and her friends called the cops to set Johnny up, and the first time didn't do the trick, so they spilled a little wine, roughed the place up, and called the cops again. Blah, blah, blah. So they gave that one to Amber, and I'll tell you, I will tell you why I think they gave that one to her in a few minutes, but they voted in her favor on that one, and then they went to count 3 and voted no. They awarded Amber $2 million in damages, and when it came to her punitive damages, they awarded her $0, which I thought another message to Amber, and that speaks volumes as well. So they're like, okay, look, Johnny gets $5 million in punitive damages, Amber gets $0, and I think that was a big message. So that was the verdict. Everybody was so happy about it. Everybody was rejoicing. It was absolutely amazing. And I watched that verdict being read 3 times. And I zoomed in and there was not one tear shed. Now, that is almost scary to me. That makes me feel, in my opinion, that Amber Heard is a dangerous sociopath. And let me tell you why. If I lied about something like this, if I did something like this and I got called out and the jury didn't believe me and I had to pay $15 million, at first I would think it was $15 million, so it's not, because the damages are capped. But anyway, if I was like, oh my God, I have to pay $15 million, the whole world's going to hate me, blah, 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 this verdict, blah, 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 I would be so overwhelmed. I would be bawling. I would have shed a tear. Now, if I was telling the truth and the jury did not believe me and they awarded my ex when he really did do all those horrible things, I would be bawling my eyes out. She didn't shed one tear, even when the verdict was being read. I feel like she's got to be heartless, emotionless. It is just scary to watch. It's scary to watch. But anyways, moving on. So the second count that the jury ruled in Amber's favor, about calling the cops twice and blah, blah, blah. Now, I really think that if Johnny and his team would have spent more time proving that this was true, then Amber wouldn't have got this, but they didn't. I don't know if they just didn't care. I don't know if they were more into proving the entire case and they didn't think to spend a lot of time on just that. I mean, I know they had the time. We know that they had the time left to do so. So I don't know what happened there. I don't know why they didn't spend time on this, but when they had the cops on the stand, the cops said that they don't know if they were called twice. They might have just been dispatched twice on accident. So they didn't prove that the cops were called twice. And I think they should have spent more time on that because we have already proven that on this channel. Io Tell It Right. He's the one who called the police. He even gave everyone his phone records showing that he called the police, and he called 911 immediately after Amber screamed for him to do so. Unfortunately, he actually called the police about 13 minutes after he hung up with Amber, which is not immediately. If I was on the phone with my friend and I heard her husband beating her and she screamed for me to call the police, I wouldn't hang up with her and then hang out for 13 minutes and then call the police. I would call the police immediately if I believed she was actually in danger. So, anyways, he waited 13 minutes. He showed everybody his phone records. He also wrote an article about why he called 911. And so he absolutely called 911. So how did the police get this phone call on the same day, about an hour or two after the cops left?
Saturday, May 21, 2016, 20:27 and 27 seconds.
911 emergency, operator 278.
Hi, I need to report an assault right now happening at 849 Broadway at the Eastern Building in Penthouse 3.
20:27 and 37 seconds.
Okay, are you there right now, ma'am?
No, I'm downstairs.
Okay, and I'm sorry, you said 840, was it North or South Broadway?
47 seconds.
I don't know, it's the Eastern Building, downtown LA.
20:27 and 57
right,
seconds.
Because it's coming up in different areas, we have to be sure.
20,
somebody was being physically assaulted?
Yeah.
07 seconds.
A woman.
Who was hurting her?
A man.
Was that her boyfriend?
A man, that's all I know.
17 seconds.
Did you witness it?
No, I happen to know that it's happening,
Saturday,
and I just need to
May
remain anonymous.
20,
Okay, you can remain anonymous, ma'am, but I have to be
2016,
certain what's going on. How do you know this is going on, though?
20:28
She told me.
and
Oh, okay, so this is a friend of yours?
seconds.
Yes,
Okay, so what did she say, that this guy was assaulted her or hit her?
physically assaulting her, yes.
Okay, but this isn't a boyfriend or anything like that?
Yes, it could be, yeah.
20:28 and
Okay, is it her boyfriend, yes or no?
47 seconds.
Yes.
Okay. All right, hold on. Are you between 8th and 9th Street in downtown?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay, and I'm sorry, what was the suite number?
Penthouse 3.
Penthouse 3, okay. And you want us to be anonymous, right?
20:29
Yes, please.
and 07 seconds.
And your friend, did she relay this information to you via text, or were you talking to her?
20:29
phone.
and
Okay.
17 seconds.
What's her name?
Saturday, May 21,
Her name, Amber.
2016.
That's all I can tell you. I have to go.
20:29 and
Okay, well, that's all we have, and we can't
27
talk to her. There's not much we can do. We'll send
What do you
someone
mean
up.
there's... Send somebody up, please.
I'm gonna send someone up, ma'am. But you know, if we get up there and she denies it or
Okay,
doesn't want to talk
okay.
to us,
29
okay, just so you know, okay. So we're
Alright,
coming out
thank
to
you.
840 Broadway, Penthouse 3. Okay.
Say 849.
It's very interesting, isn't it? That is not Io Tell It Right, and that is a woman, and she says that Amber told her about it, and she's in the building somewhere. She wants to remain anonymous.
Yes.
Yeah.
Amber.
Two.
Amber.
A woman.
A woman.
Yeah. And did you see how she tried to keep it extremely vague, and she didn't try to give any details, but the lady, the dispatcher was like, look, I mean, I know you want to remain anonymous, and that's fine, but you have to tell us what's going on, or we can't do anything. It's very, very interesting to me, but the cops absolutely were called 2 times in that night, and that's why they were dispatched 2 times. Now, the first time they were dispatched, the body cam footage shows that there was nothing, no damage to the apartment, no damage to Amber's face, nothing. And the first time that they got there, Josh Drew met them outside and tried to not let them come in, but they insisted on coming in. They insisted on speaking with Amber and insisted of doing a sweep of the entire penthouse, and there was nothing wrong. After they concluded no crime had been committed, Amber and her friends then called the cops again, and the cops, they again tried to not let them come in, but the cops wanted to come in. Again, we saw no damage. But then Amber produces pictures of this damage and the spilled wine and all that, and where did it come from? So if they would have spent more time on that, showing that to the jury, they absolutely would not have given Amber that count at all. I don't know why they didn't, but there is proof that they were called twice, and yeah, I believe what Adam Waldman said in that statement. So that is why I think Amber got that count in her favor and nothing else. I still don't see how the jury formed an opinion that Adam Waldman made that statement with actual malice, because even if that is not what happened, which it is, I believe. Do I have to say that? I don't know. Even if that's not what happened, they don't know that Adam Waldman didn't know that. I mean, Adam could have wholeheartedly believed that that is what happened. And I think he does wholeheartedly believe that. So I don't see how they got the malice, but I mean, maybe they were just being nice and giving it to her. I don't know. So let's go ahead and talk about the statement that Amber Heard put out. This statement had to have been already written and drafted up by her and her PR team, because it was literally posted a minute, maybe 2 minutes after she walked out of that courtroom. She probably wasn't even out of the building yet before this was posted. And there's no way she could have typed all that out. So it was definitely drafted beforehand. I'm sure that she had a statement prepared for if she won and if she lost. But let's go ahead and go through Amber's statement. Okay, here is Amber's statement, you guys. Let's go ahead and go through it. So, she says, "The disappointment I feel today is beyond words. I'm heartbroken that the mountain of evidence still was not enough to stand up to the disproportionate power, influence, and sway of my ex-husband." Hold on, guys. The mountain of evidence in Johnny's favor, you mean? Because I didn't see any evidence on her side. I saw pictures that were clearly edited, pictures that she gave the jury that were the exact same picture that she gave them for 2 separate incidents, and her testimony. That's all. So I don't know how that's a mountain of evidence, but I digress. Let's continue. "I'm even more disappointed with what this verdict means for other women. It is a setback." I'm sorry. "It sets back the clock to a time when a woman who spoke up and spoke out could be publicly shamed and humiliated. It sets back the idea that violence against women is to be taken seriously. This is absolute garbage. Absolute garbage. This verdict does not set women back whatsoever. This verdict, I think, is a step in the right direction. This is a huge verdict. This is huge for everyone, showing the entire world that abuse has no gender and a man can be abused as well. I think that Me Too should include men, and this is a huge verdict. It shows. And I have seen a lot of people, a lot of men coming forward since this verdict saying that they were actually abused and by their ex-girlfriend or ex-wife, and they have always been ashamed, but they felt strong and they felt powered by Johnny actually standing up and speaking out, that they felt that they could speak out and not be humiliated. So I think that this was a large monumental step for abuse victims of both genders, of all genders. Abuse has no gender. And honestly, I don't believe that this sets back women whatsoever. Absolutely not. And I have absolutely read and seen tons and tons and tons of abuse victims and abused women and DV women victims, and they have all said that not only do they believe Amber Heard is lying, but she is an embarrassment to real victims everywhere, and it is Amber Heard herself who is setting the clock back for victims. Because of people like Amber Heard, that is the reason why real victims are not believed, because of people like Amber Heard making up abuse allegations that can be proven by mountains of evidence that it just didn't happen that way. So I feel, and I said this in my last video, I feel that for this verdict being in Johnny's favor is actually going to help women in the long run, because if women who report false allegations are punished more often, then they will not do it as much. And if they don't do it as much because they can actually be punished for it, then people will actually believe the women who come forward more, because they know that they won't come forward if it's not true, because they can be punished like Amber Heard was. So I feel like this verdict is a step in the right direction, not just for abuse victims of all genders, but for women as well. So I 100% disagree with Amber here, but of course she's going to say something like this. She said, I believe Johnny's attorney succeeded in getting the jury to overlook the key issue of freedom of speech and ignore evidence that was so conclusive that we won in the UK. Now, I love how she is saying we won in the UK. She was not a party in that case. She was merely a witness in that case. She was not a party in that case at all. I don't know why she's sitting here saying we won. She was just a witness in that case. Now, this case had nothing to do with freedom of speech. The Constitution does protect freedom of speech. It protects a lot of different kinds of speech. It protects nasty, foul speech, but it does not protect defamatory speech and lies that can ruin somebody's career. It doesn't. It never has, and it never will. So you have the right, as an American, is what she said. You have a right as a human being, as an American, to tell the truth. But if you are lying and you are ruining somebody's life with your lies, that is not protected under the Constitution. It's just not. I'm sad I lost this case. I believe that. But I am sadder still that I seem to have lost a right I thought I had as an American to speak freely and openly. You can speak freely and openly. You can speak freely and openly. You just cannot tell lies that ruins people's lives. You can't. You can't. That's never been the right of an American anywhere. And it never will be. So, okay. Moving on. Johnny also put out a statement as well. Now, this one says, 6 years ago, my life, the life of my children, the lives of those closest to me, and also the lives of the people who for many, many years have supported and believed in me were forever changed. All in the blink of an eye. False, very serious and criminal allegations were levied at me via the media, which triggered an endless barrage of hateful content. Although no charges were ever brought against me, it had already traveled around the world twice within a nanosecond, and it had a seismic impact on my life and my career. And 6 years later, the jury gave me my life back. I am truly humbled. My decision to pursue this case, knowing very well the height of the legal hurdles that I would be facing and the inevitable worldwide spectacle into my life, was only made after considerable thought. From the very beginning, the goal of bringing this case was to reveal the truth, regardless of the outcome. Speaking the truth was something that I owed to my children and to all those who have remained steadfast in their support of me. I feel at peace knowing I have finally accomplished that. Now that, you guys, is a statement. That was absolutely very beautiful, very powerful, very impactful. That was an amazing statement. And I believe wholeheartedly that he believes every part of that. And I know that he wanted to just speak the truth. And he has been waiting this whole time to be able to speak the truth. Not his truth, the truth. If you've ever noticed Amber, every time she says it, she says, my truth, my truth, my truth. Johnny says, the truth. And I thought that was very telling as well. So those were the two statements, and I also want to tell you guys that, of course, Amber has already announced that she is appealing. Of course, she's going to appeal it. Unfortunately for her, she has no grounds to appeal at all. The only way she can appeal is if there was like a monumental mistake, or if the judge did something terrible, or something like that. This judge was extremely fair. She was super awesome, in my opinion. This judge did an amazing, amazing job. She even let them approach the bench every time they asked. A judge has the discretion to say no. And every time she let them approach, she was very fair in all of her rulings, and I don't think at all that she has any grounds. But Elaine Bredehoft, the bird, she believes that Amber has grounds for appeal because the judge didn't let them tell the jury about the UK ruling. But why? That has nothing to do with this case. That's a totally different case against someone else. It's not like he sued Amber in the UK and lost. He sued the Sun in the UK and lost. And let's not forget, everybody, let's not forget that the judge in that case had very, very tight ties, or whatever you want to say, with Dan Wooten and the Sun. And his son worked for them, and I forget how exactly it went. I have a video on it. His wife's ex works, I don't know. His wife, one of his wife's friends was friends with Amber's attorney over there. Just a lot of bias going on. And that court over there is so different from our justice system here in the United States. So different. Like, it, of course, the ruling shouldn't be talked about over here, whether he won or lost, because it has nothing to do with this. It is so incredibly different. Anyways, Elaine thought it was a good idea to go on the Today Show and talk about it. So let's go ahead and watch that video. And of course, we're going to have to give it a little commentary because I'm not going to be able to keep my mouth shut. But let's go ahead and watch.
Elaine Bredehoft, good morning to you. It's good to see you. First question, how is Amber doing? We saw her hearing that verdict. It took a long time to read. It was a sweeping verdict for Johnny Depp. How did she handle it?
You know, one of the first things she said is, I am so sorry to all those women out there. This is a setback for all women in and outside the courtroom. And she feels the burden of that.
Okay, first of all, I don't believe that at all. Not at all. I don't believe that at all. In my opinion, Amber does not care at all about anyone else, anyone but herself. And this is not a setback. She's trying to weaponize it and use the Me Too movement and use other women to make people believe her. And she's still doing it. It is absolutely insane to me. Let's keep going.
Knowing the case and knowing the law as you certainly do, it favors defendants like Amber Heard. Are you stunned that the jury essentially rejected her story?
Well, really what happened here is it's a tale of two trials. Johnny Depp brought a suit in the UK for the same case, and the burden of proof was easier for him there. The son had to actually prove that it was true, and the court found there, and we weren't allowed to tell the jury this, but the court found that Mr. Depp had committed at least 12 acts of domestic violence, including sexual violence, against Amber.
First of all, I am going to put a little box up here in the corner, and we are going to count how many times she refers to the UK case, because that's all she's got. So she referred to it for the first time, so let's put it up there. Second of all, what she just said is not true at all. The burden of truth over there was not easy for Johnny to prove. It was way harder. The son is the one who did the questioning to Johnny. He didn't get to tell his story. And I already talked about the judge's bias and conflict of interest in that case. But on top of that, it was not 12 acts of domestic violence, and one of them was just talking about a text message, and it was the same text message that Johnny had here where he was apologizing. They were talking, they just tried to say, oh, he was apologizing for beating me up, and the judge actually rejected that one. But anyways, that's not true. What she just said is not true at all. And like I've already explained how the UK case should not even matter because of the bias. And again, the judge even said in his verdict of that trial that his decision was largely swayed by the fact that Amber donated her entire divorce settlement. And he said, quote, "That is hardly the act of a gold digger," end quote. So he even said that in his decision. So his decision was largely swayed by the fact that Amber donated her entire $7 million divorce settlement. And that is why it was so important to prove that Amber never donated.
So what did Depp's team learn from this? Demonize Amber and suppress the evidence. We had an enormous amount of evidence that was suppressed in this case that was in the UK case. In the UK case, when it came in, Amber won, Mr. Depp lost.
First of all, again, Amber was not a party in that case. She was merely only a witness. He was suing the son, not Amber. Secondly, there was a lot of evidence that was suppressed in Johnny's team too. Do you guys remember that video I put out a couple weeks ago with the audio from that night in Australia when Johnny's finger just disappeared? Do you guys remember that? There was audio from that night, and they didn't let that in this trial. So Amber can't sit there and whine and cry about the mountain of evidence that was in her favor that was not allowed in. Girl, you're lucky that evidence of you crying, saying, "Is he hurt? I didn't mean to," wasn't allowed in.
But here's the thing. You were able to get some evidence that you say demonstrated abuse. You certainly had her testimony. There were pictures, documents, all kinds of evidence. But in point of fact, the jury rejected it. You argued in your closing arguments that if they found even one instance of abuse, and it did not even have to be physical abuse, that they would have to find for Amber Heard, and they didn't.
I like how she said that, because Elaine is sitting there trying to say, they didn't let any of our evidence in and blah, blah, blah. Well, she said, you did have all this evidence and they still rejected it. Yeah, they did, because they saw through the bullshit. They heard the tapes. They're not stupid. Let's continue.
And the other part to bear in mind here is nothing changed. The op-ed didn't even mention Mr. Depp by name.
It doesn't have to mention his name. Everybody and their mom knew exactly who she was talking about. It's defamation by implication, and that is what he sued for. You don't have to mention his name. The jury already decided. The jury found that she was talking about Mr. Depp. And if you really want to get technical, she was on the stand and she admitted she was talking about Johnny. I said Mr. Depp. She admitted she was talking about Johnny. She said, this is why I wrote the op-ed, because of Johnny, and I wrote it about Johnny and other powerful men.
And so what basically they did here is demonize her. And they were able to suppress the medical records, which were very, very significant because they showed a pattern going all the way back to 2012 of Amber reporting this to her therapist, for example.
Okay. Telling your therapist is not medical records. Let's get that straight real quick. Telling your therapist that your husband is hitting you is not medical records. And they talked to their therapists, they talked to their marriage counselor, and they said that Amber admitted several times to hitting Johnny and hitting him first. So why didn't they get her therapist up there then? Why didn't they get her therapist up there then? Why not? I mean, that is not medical records. When she first said medical records, I was like, oh, what medical records? Of what injuries? Oh, just therapy notes? Oh, okay, never mind. You see how she's trying to spin that there?
We had significant amount of texts, including from Mr. Depp's assistants, saying, when I told him he kicked you, he cried. He is so sorry. That didn't come in.
And let's remember how Johnny said on the stand that, yes, he said all that stuff in those texts, and it was because he always said those things to just placate her, and he told his assistants to do so as well. And honestly, after hearing her on the tape and just like freaking out on him, not wanting to let him leave and saying, "You're killing me," I would placate her too.
Is there any other way to interpret this verdict, though, that this jury, for whatever reason, and I hear you on some of the evidence that they didn't hear, listening to Amber Heard, did not believe a single word?
You know, and that's because she was demonized here. A number of things were allowed in this court that should not have been allowed.
Hold up. The jury didn't believe a single word she said because they heard her on the tapes. They heard her on the tapes, and then they heard her explanation of those tapes, basically saying, yeah, I apologize. Like, she literally, Johnny said, you punched me in the face, like you haymakered me. And she said, I'm sorry. And then her explanation was, that's what Johnny was talking about. I was talking about something different. What? No. Like, the jury didn't believe a single word she said because they heard the evidence, they heard the audio. They saw her laughing in that tape. They saw her smirk. They heard her laugh in that tape. Come on. And then you have the bird over here squawking, saying that evidence shouldn't have been allowed in because it makes Amber look bad. Why shouldn't it have been allowed in? All the voices of anyone else was redacted. So basically she's saying that the evidence against Johnny should have been allowed in, but no evidence against Amber should have been allowed in. Is that what she's saying?
And it caused the jury to be confused. We weren't allowed to tell them about the UK judgment. So the damages is completely skewed. There are no damages. It stopped at November 2, 2020.
Again, with the UK judgment. Is that all she's going to talk about? And what evidence caused the jury to be confused? Amber saying, I'm sorry I didn't hit you in the face with a proper slap, but I was hitting you. I wasn't punching you. I was hitting you. And then apologizing for hitting him over and over. Like, what made them confused? Because I think that made them less confused.
Which is when the judgment came down in the UK.
Let me ask you about social media in this case. Unlike any celebrity case, certainly I've ever covered or ever seen, social media was a part of this. And it was incredibly lopsided and vitriolic against Amber Heard. Do you think that had an effect on the case?
Absolutely.
Do you think jurors were aware of it? They weren't supposed to be. They're admonished every single day. Don't look at it. Do you think they did see it?
How can you not? They went home every night. They have families. The families are on social media. We had a 10-day break in the middle because of the judicial conference. There's no way they couldn't have been influenced by it. And it was horrible. It really, really was lopsided. And I appreciate your saying that. It's like the Roman Colosseum, you know, how they viewed this whole case.
Okay, so here she is basically saying that she doesn't trust the jurors, that the jurors were not listening to instructions, that they were looking at social media, or how could you not be influenced? And she says it was lopsided against Amber, and I appreciate you saying that. Well, the reason why it's so lopsided against Amber is because everybody and their mom knows what kind of person she is, and everyone's heard the audio. Nothing to do with the Waldman statements, by the way. It's the audio, everything that has come out, all the evidence. That is why it's so lopsided against Amber. Everybody knows what kind of person she is. But again, she's insulting the jury. How nice. That's very disrespectful to the courts, but whatever.
I was against cameras in the courtroom, and I went on record with that and had argued against it because of the sensitive nature of this.
Of course she didn't want cameras in the courtroom. Why would she want cameras in the courtroom? Amber doesn't want anybody to see her trying to act her way out of this, because she's not really a good actor anyway. But Amber doesn't want all that evidence out. Amber did not want the entire world to see and hear all of that evidence. Of course they were against cameras. Johnny was for cameras in the courtroom because he didn't care about the judgment. He just wanted the world to hear the evidence and hear his side, the truth.
But it made it a zoo.
Does your client want to appeal?
Oh, absolutely. And she has some excellent grounds for it. We even had tried to get the UK judgment in to dismiss his case because he already had his shot. And that's one of the issues, but also a number of the evidentiary issues. There was so much evidence that did not come in.
Again, with the UK judgment, now they did try to get this case thrown out several times by using the UK judgment, and that was thrown out every time because the judge explained to them that the UK, their court system, their judicial system is completely different than ours, and Amber was not a party in that. He was not suing Amber, he was suing the Sun, a media outlet. And on top of all of that, he didn't get to tell his side. Like, he was grilled and asked questions by the Sun. He wasn't able to actually present his own case and testify and tell his side. It's different over there. That didn't happen.
Is she able to pay a $10.4 million judgment?
Oh, no, absolutely not.
Finally, in closing arguments, Amber's team argued that this would send a message, that it would send a message that no matter what you do as an abuse victim, you always have to do more. You need to be perfect in order for people to believe you if she did not get a favorable verdict. What message do you think this sends?
It's a horrible message. It's, as I said, a setback. It's a significant setback because that's exactly what it means. Unless you pull out your phone and you video your spouse or your significant other beating you, effectively, you won't be believed.
Elaine Bredehoft, thank you very much for your time this morning. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. We already talked about why I believe it's not a setback. I don't want to go through it again. You guys probably don't want to hear it again. But let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think that it's a significant setback? Do you guys think it's sending a message that you have to be perfect and always video it to be believed? I don't think so. And again, like Camille Vasquez said in her closing arguments, that's not what we're saying. She even said that. She said, that is not what we're saying. We are simply saying with the horrific and brutal abuse that Amber claims constantly, she would have some kind of marks or medical evidence to prove that theory. And she didn't. It just wasn't there. And the fact that Johnny always wears those chunky rings, and she even testified he whacked her in the face and punched her in the face with those rings. And then there's a picture of her the next day with no marks on her face. If you got punched in the face with rings like that and you thought it broke your nose, the next day you'd be messed up, okay? And I already showed a video about how I think she got the split lip because she has that lip picking tic where she's always picking her lips nervously and they're always bleeding, and there's tons of pictures of her with her lips bleeding like that. But there's that, and the fact that she said Johnny dragged her through glass. Not only did he assault her in that way with a bottle, but he dragged her through all that glass, and there was slices. Her feet were sliced up, her arms, her back, everything was sliced up. And that's exactly what she said. And then there's a video of her 2 days later practicing her ballerina dance for the Danish girl, and she has no cuts on her anywhere. None. Not on her feet. She said the bottom of her feet were sliced up pretty good, end quote. Nothing. So they're not saying you have to be perfect and film blah, blah, blah. They're simply saying if you were really abused that brutally and that horribly, you would have medical records, you would have some sort of injuries, you would have something. And there was nothing there. And she tried to say that she saw an ear, nose, and throat specialist, and they said she has nose issues, which, by the way, can be caused by substances. But why didn't they have that doctor come on? Why didn't they bring those medical records? Do they exist? I mean, come on. It's just ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. And the amount of contradictions in her story, and the amount of times where she's constantly taking pictures of everything. Every mark she had, like that bruise on her arm. She's taking pictures of Johnny passed out every time he nods off. She's taking pictures and documenting all of this stuff. But she never, ever documented slices. I mean, she's going to document a little cut on her lip, but she's not going to document her entire body being sliced up and just her whole face mangled pretty much or something by those rings. Like, give me a break. Give me a break. And I think the jury thought so too. But anyway, you guys, those are my thoughts on all of this, the verdict, Elaine's ridiculous interview, and their statements that they put out. What do you guys think? And I also wanted to ask you guys a question. Okay, I want to kind of like take a vote. If Amber was to come out publicly and admit that she lied about all of this, and admit that she has problems and she needs help, do you guys think that the public would be more apt to forgive her and let her move on with her life and let her maybe still have a career or something? Do you think the public would be more apt to just forgive her than they would if she just keeps going with this lie? And do you think it would be better for her to keep going with this lie because she's too deep in, or to admit she's wrong and ask for forgiveness and take accountability and admit she lied? Which, I mean, I don't think she ever will do. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think the public will be more apt to actually forgive her if she admits she has issues, admits she lied, and is trying to get help for those, or says she wants to get help or something? I don't know. It was just a question. And the really, really sad part about this entire thing is Johnny said so many times it doesn't have to be this way. He didn't want it to go this far. I guarantee, like, okay, of course I can't guarantee, but I bet if Amber would have called Johnny after he filed this lawsuit, like probably even just last year, if she would have called him and apologized for what she's done and what she's said, and told him that she will tell the truth if he just doesn't sue her. I guarantee, well, of course I can't say that, I gotta stop saying that. I bet that he would have dropped the lawsuit if she would have put out a statement apologizing and admitting she lied. I bet he would have dropped the lawsuit. And now she has to pay $10.4 million and she doesn't have it. And if she ever gets another movie role again, which I doubt, all that money will go to Johnny. And what do you guys think Johnny's going to do with the money? Do you guys think Johnny's even going to get the money? Or do you think he's going to just be like, I don't want the money, keep my name out of your mouth, and, move on? Or do you think he's going to get the money? Well, she doesn't have the money, but if he ever gets any money, do you guys think that Johnny will give it to charity? Do you guys think that Amber's ever going to fulfill her pledge to the charities? I'd love to hear all of your guys' thoughts and opinions down below. Definitely let me know what you guys think. You know what I think. And that is all for this case. This entire case is over for now. We'll see if Amber really does try to appeal it, or if she even has grounds to appeal. She probably doesn't, but we'll see what happens. But for now, this case is officially over, and I would love to hear all of your guys' final thoughts on the case as well. So let me know what you guys think. I am going to get back to some other videos, some other cases that I've been working on. And yeah, it's been a crazy roller coaster ride, and still apparently to Amber it's not over, so we'll see. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. If you guys made it all the way to the end, thank you so much. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it, and it will help me so much. If you guys like content like this, and like this community that I'm trying to create, where we can talk about things like this, please consider subscribing to my channel. I would love to have you guys in this family, this community. And that is everything for now, you guys. And I will see you guys in the next video. And remember, guys, in a world where you can be anything, please be kind to each other. Love you guys. Bye.